Welcome to our next session, which is on how to bridge the gap between product development and manufacturing, which is crucial to really have a seamless product life cycle story. So let me welcome Michael Schneider, who is the lead of manufacturing and IT architecture and application strategy in Bosch. And my colleague Stefan Steidle, who is leading digital continuity.
So let's start.
Yeah. Welcome to our presentation, Digital Production Engineering at Bosch, together with Capgemini, well supported. And we start to talk a little bit about bridging the gap. That means, what do we talk about? If you look to the value stream, we consider ideation phase, product engineering phase. Usually you have then manufacturing operations field information, means customer information coming back in the IoT cycle. But we missed in between the engineering of the machines, the production lines, and this is where we stepped into our last action fields in the whole chain, I would say. About the dimension, you see, we are driven by increasing complexity. Massive driver is time to market. To be faster with the products on the market. Automotive is getting more faster always, but also all other products as well. As we are talking here in our area, mainly about brownfield at Bosch, or a lot of not PDM managed data. We have to look also on the operation model, needs competitive IT support, and the digitalization in the whole chain, media breaks, whatever, is also a gap to be mastered. So looking into maybe that you get an impression, what we're talking here is what you all know. You have a landscape, you have lack of transparency, you have media breaks, different medias, siloed knowledge. This would be all not our headache. The headache in Bosch is that we are talking here not about one such stream. We talk about very conservative, by far more than 100 plants, and by far more than 2,000 production lines, heavily, I would say, automated ones. I'm not counting even the others. So this is target scope, and that means we have to tidy up heavily and convince a lot of people into the right direction. And the arguments that you see on what we get is not only what you usually see in all PLM projects, that you have now single point of truth, seamless digital integration, and harmonized landscape. We are talking also that we get able to support us cross-plant, cross-business, automotive to non-automotive, but also automotive different sectors. And this is maybe also different than if you compare to the Bosch landscape PLM in product engineering. We have silos for each product, certain degree, but on production engineering we are bridging them all. So different scope there. And going into, you see that everybody gets something out. For the factory, you have their digital factory planning, you have also smart factory simulation, you have production engineering for the production lines, virtual commissioning, really with simulation, also what we did in PLC and other areas to simulate before you get the problem with the hardware, also clear. And you see now also all qualities towards the workstations. And what we can exchange is not only workstations or design, you have to look to the topology in 3D CAD and whatever to exchange. And to do this across 200 plants and thousands of production lines, you need a digital basis where you exchange this. You can't master it parallel in this dimension. So cross-functional, this means not only for the production engineering, this is where we bridge also to product engineering, is then program project management, document management backbones, variant management of machines, change management, and very important on our side is partner integration, means not only big machine suppliers that you meet here all on the HMI, but also design partners in smaller degrees, and a lot of them. So to get a real common backbone and ecosystem where you can really collaborate on. So looking therein, the portfolio, the requirements, you see standardized production modules is one to be exchanged, has also organizational impacts with maintaining it, planning of lines that are more flexible, so we are reusing machines also in other kinds of production, even across business sectors, and for sure the variants that we produce, machines getting more and more expensive, so if you do the next generation, should also be able to produce on high quality, very high speed, the next generations also. So the modular equipment itself, systems engineering is for this area not the same than if you go to aircraft industry or automobile, so it's usually 10, 15 years behind. But here now it gets very, very critical in terms of mastering the complexity. The increased digitalization of a line has much more changed than 10 years ago. So you have to rapid do all the changes to production lines in a much huger amount, and you have to be very precise, otherwise the digital twin of your production line is not valid and not working. We talked at the very first session today with the head of development of our digitalization about using AI classes and whatever, and you know, if you don't have the data right, you just see the wrong things and you can't do it like you want it. Easy exchange and reuse of production processes and equipment is for sure one argument, but looking to the stuff itself globally, we connect all our special machine engineering departments supporting each other worldwide. So we can build center of competencies, and also if here press a button, it goes to service now, you get a ticket. If you imagine in such an environment, you get support 24 hours around the globe by all these special machine engineers. So it's a huge community that we will, I would say, make happy with this wonderful tool chain. And maybe how we get there, we will hear now from Stefan.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. So how to realize all that? Yeah? In fact, we drive an architecture approach. So that means, of course, coming from the business understanding, coming from the business need. So we started to realize all the demands coming from different levels, from the planners until the top management of different plants and business units, and realized, first of all, and derived capability map. So why do we need capabilities? So this is a term quite often used for architects, but is getting more and more used in transformation projects. And these capabilities gave us the possibility to draw a first architectural design of the future solution suite, and to use that as a major input for the next coming vendor selection. Because we said for Bosch, it was settled, okay, we take a solution out of the shelf, we don't do a custom development here. And with that vendor selection, of course, in that case, Siemens was selected, this is official, yeah? And the first solution design could start, and the first implementation as well. So the first productive scope was in 2022, roughly, when especially the special machine engineering and all the design of the equipment and machines are already productive and in use. And so we started later on with further PLM functionalities, which have been shown on the slide before, concerning the planning of production engineering. And so where are we now? So in the meanwhile, so based on mainly Teamcenter, our solution portfolio is quite big. So you see different areas of the equipment engineering, so for all the special machines, from the mechatronic design, engineering, and the BOM creation, all the BOM life cycle, equipment and variant management. So which is, of course, the basis of all the planning of the production lines later on. And then here we already achieved a quite closed continuity along the planning cycle. So starting with the so-called DFMA. I guess this is not only usual in Bosch, so the term is quite used in the meanwhile, so design for manufacturing and assembly. And for that, we even introduced another application which is based from the same vendor, so from Siemens. So it's a Mendix application. And so why did we do that? Mendix is providing some integrated interfaces to Teamcenter. And so we had the possibility to create that digital continuity and the data continuity from first day on. Because today, this planning phase is mainly based on workshops and documented in specialized Excel workbooks. Yeah? But as we all know, Excel is great, Excel is fine, but it's not continuous or connected to something. Yeah? And we said, hey, if we do the start right, yeah, so we have a good chance to create that continuity later on. And so we start really creating all the first ideas of a new production line or of a new workstation already in the PLM backbone. And this for Mendix was integrated. And so you can go on with the planning process until you are at the point of transferring all that data to a possible simulation solution like process simulate, plant simulation, and so on. And so what are the next steps? Of course, now when design and planning is already done with a solution, so you can grow. Yeah? You can use the data, create value out of it, and for example, realize cases like virtual commissioning, which was already mentioned. But not only that, so you can collaborate. You can boost your collaboration along business units or across business units, which has not been done by now, and use, for example, a certain transport functionality or grippers or whatever, which already have been designed, and you can use it in another production line as well. So which was not possible to exchange in nowadays planning and design of production lines. And of course, having the data is the basis of doing analytics, of doing maybe AI-guided planning or AI-guided solutions anyway, and even generate more value later on. But what for? So the goal of the whole phase, which we call production engineering, is of course to prepare the manufacturing operations. So that means all the data has to be transferred to the operation side, which also means to integrate later the machine and the edge integration and so on, which means to provide the data already in that kind of format and in that structure that all the machines can easily read and control it and use it. So, what are our key success factors until now?
Yeah, we went, as you said already, we came from what is the business gap, what is the contribution for the business strategy. So it's pure TOGAF if you want. Yeah? And then we went into looking into the business process, architecture, digitalize, expertise, together with Capgemini to bring it in to evaluate what are the costs to be invested, what is a benefit that we can take, and it is different depending on the plan and the starting point, and this analytic was really high and complex and huge. And then focus on execution, stepwise, having low-hanging fruits, enabling the organization to do own apps like shown, or these, I would say, front-runner app that we did together with Capgemini, very successful.
And maybe so to close the gap now, so we call that bridging the digital gap. Yeah? So first of all, that sounds a little bit weird. So hey, we are quite open and transparent with a certain gap here. But in fact, this is already an opportunity as such, because if you have nothing, more or less, there, so it's easier to bring in a structured approach and a structured platform. It's definitely easier than integrating a lot of already existing legacy systems which are all over the company. So a gap is sometimes also a change, a chance to realize that. So, thank you so far. Lydia.
So, again, we have some time for questions. And Michael, thanks for joining us, and let me ask the first question. What is your recommendation for other companies like yours, how to start the journey bridging the gap? So what would be your key recommendations to consider?
So if the company has a gap there, first of all. Yeah, being clear about the business contribution, anchor it in the business strategy, and execute it consequently. Yeah. Doing this, take care on data model and API interfaces. We not talk about a tool, we talk about a landscape that we really maintain here. So, and balance the right level of freedom for differentiation and standardization within this data model as well, API interface scope. Yeah.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yeah, thank you very much for this interesting presentation. It's clear that there's a value of the data continuity over the whole process chain. Question is, would you be able to point out a specific capability where this approach brings tangible value to your company? What is the most important topic from your perspective?
I'm not sure whether I get the last part of your question, sorry.
I was asking, it's clear that data continuity over the whole process chain is a value, but would you be able to point out specific areas where you see the biggest value for your company?
We can give an example on this chain. Maybe we go back to see it again. So we start with an app called Manufacturing Data Planner in a very early phase of the product development itself. So we plan already which digitalization degree we need in the machines and we need in the MES systems. So this is running through the whole design, yeah, so that we have a very clear picture what is the invest, what's needed, and in the simulation you see already if something is missing to be added also to the machines. So that would be one example for running the data through the whole thing.
Okay. So it would be an acceleration of the process?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's time to market on one hand, yeah, so clear already here for the programmers of the MES system what kind of data they have to recognize in their automations, while the machine design knows how many sensors and so on they need to install.
Okay. Thank you.
In fact, to add on that, on your question, so when we took that initial business perspective from the different business units, so we had a phase where we let all themselves assess their possible benefit later on. And one of the biggest was, I guess, definitely time to market. And if you ask a production planner nowadays, so where do you lose time? So this is unfortunately how to handle all the data, how to transfer data from A to B, from supplier to Bosch or within Bosch. Yeah? So what does that mean? That means roughly 20 to 30% of the time of a planner is just more or less useless time for waiting, for transferring data, for doing manual work in that. Yeah? And so this all can be solved by such a solution.
You know, Stefan is still around. We have some demos on the experience area with some follow-ups, so feel free to join us there as well. Thank you.
Thank you.